And this is the review packet, page 1 for Algebra 2 fourth period for Unit 8. So these are the solutions for that unit. Alright, so we've got complex fractions. This is section 5-7. Alright, so remember what we want to do with these is we want to find a GCF, and the GCF is between 2 and 5, and so the GCF is 10. Now, if I take that, I can multiply by 10 on the top and the bottom. When I do that, I get 10 plus 20 over 5, 50 over 2, minus 20 over 5. Okay, and I can simplify those things. 20 divided by 5 is 4, 50 divided by 2 is 25, and 20 minus divided by 5 is 4. So I'll get 14 over 21, which reduces by 7, so I get 2/3. Looking at 2, again, we want to find a GCF. In this case, it's 2, 5, 6, and 8. So I take the largest one, 8, and I start doing multiples until I find one that they all go into. Okay, 40, 2, 5, and 8 go into 40, but that doesn't work. 6 doesn't go into it. Let's try 80. 2, 5, and 8 go into it. 6 doesn't go into 80. However, 126 does. So we do 120. Okay, and so I end up with 120 over 2 plus 120 over 5 all over 120 over 6 plus 120 over 8. Now divide each of those out. When I do that, I get a new expression. I get 60. 120 divided by 2 is 60. 120 divided by 5 is 24. 120 divided by 6 is 20. 120 divided by 8 is 15. So I take that another step. That's 84 over 35. Each of those is divisible by 7. That's 12 over 5. Okay, we can do GCF again. GCF of x and y is xy. So I'll multiply the top by xy, the bottom by xy. So I'll get xy over x all over xy over y. Some stuff cancels, more particularly the x cancels, the y cancels, and so I get a new expression, y over x, right? Those cancel, those cancel. GCF is easy on this one because it's just c's in the denominator. So multiply by c on the top and the bottom. When I do that, I get c squared minus c over c plus c over c. Okay, simplify that a little bit more. That's c squared minus 1 over c plus 1. And then this little thing right here we can factor. That's the difference of squares, so that's c plus 1, c minus 1 over c plus 1. And now I've got stuff that shows up on the top and the bottom, so it cancels, and I'm left with c minus 1. And looking at 5, again GCF, that is just t because that's all that shows up on the bottom, so multiply the top by t, the bottom by t. Okay, so I get s times t plus s times t over t times 1, which is t, over 1 times t over t. Okay, look, and we can simplify some of this. T's cancel there, and this thing right here, that becomes 1. So if I take that, I get st plus s over t plus 1. Now if I look at the top, this is factorable. I've got an s, I've got an s and an s, so I can pull that s out, and I get s times t plus 1 over t plus 1. And lovely enough, stuff cancels, and we're left with s. Okay, last one z plus 1, z minus 1. Again, find the GCF of z plus 1, z minus 1. Well, that's the product of z plus 1, z minus 1, which, if y'all remember, that's z squared minus 1. Okay, so we'll just take that, and I'll multiply by z, and I'll write it out because we're going to reduce some stuff here. So I've got that. All right, so I take that, and that means I've got 1 times it. And remember that multiplies together z squared minus 1, or that's z squared minus 1. Okay, so this stuff here times that gives me that. And then this stuff over this. Okay, so I'll go z plus 1 on bottom, z plus 1, z minus 1 on top. All that over, same concept. Remember, this is the same thing as this. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this or this, which is the same thing, okay, times this. And so I end up with, same thing, z squared minus 1. I'm going to take this times 3. Okay, so that's just plus 3 times z plus 1, z minus 1 over z plus minus 1. Okay, so stuff cancels. Let's take that stuff and let's cancel what we can cancel. Z plus 1, z plus 1, z minus 1, z minus 1. Alright, so that helps me out some. I get z squared minus 1 plus z minus 1 over z squared minus 1 plus 3 times z plus 1. Okay, we'll take care of this stuff here, and that multiplies out to be equal to, top one is z squared plus z minus 2. Bottom one is z squared minus 1 plus 3z plus 1. Excuse me, plus 3 at the end. Got to distribute it. Remember, 3 times z, 3 times 1. Okay, and so our last step, or I guess we got a couple last steps. Alright, the top one factors is z plus 2, z minus 1, because we want factors of negative 2 that add to positive 1. It's negative 2 and 1. Excuse me, not negative 2 and 1. Positive 2 and negative 1. 2 and negative 1. These things combine, and so I get z squared plus 3z plus 2, which that factors also. And so I get z plus 2 times z minus 1 over z plus 2 times z plus 1. Lovely again, stuff cancels, those are the same things, so your final answer is z minus 1 over z plus 1. That's your final answer. Okay, so that's a little more labor intensive, more complicated. We factor a couple of times and go from there. Okay, so that's the end for page 1. So I'll do page 2 in the next video.